Joy from Alexis Joy VIP Access. It is such an incredible honor to be interviewing you today, and congratulations on Vivo.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
I am completely blown away by this brilliant film. It is so touching and it's a musical masterpiece. So, can you first off tell us what it was like for you working on this amazing film and it truly being an authentic representation of Cuban culture?
I mean, I think for me, the thing about the word authentic that like excites me and also makes me nervous is that a notion that authenticity therefore means simple and definable makes me a little bit nervous. So I find excitement in trying to find complex authenticity. And so that was why I wanted to create characters that weren't all alike. You know, we have characters like Vivo and Andres and Marta who represent the apex of a musical tradition at, you know, one of the world's most extraordinary musical traditions at its highest accomplishment and form. You know, whether it's at a very, you know, refined venue like Mambo Cabana or in the public square, it doesn't matter. They're extraordinary musicians in the Cuban tradition. But I also was like, okay, and what about the one who is not interested in that tradition and just wants to break with form and do her own thing? Like, I want that in there too. And so, out of those impulses, you know, this odd couple buddy adventure was born of Vivo and Gabi going to deliver the song.
So, so beautiful. Now, just as you were talking about all of the unique characters, that's just one of the many things that makes the film so incredibly special. And one standout character, of course, is Gabby. Now, I love that Gabby was actually inspired from your younger sister. So, what is something that you've learned from your own sister that has really helped influence the creation of Gabby?
My sister was she was born ready to celebrate her awesomeness, you know, which actually we learn at a certain age. Like, don't celebrate your awesomeness. You're not awesome. You need makeup. You need a better body. You need all of these things. You need to be a good girl. You need to do all these things. And then maybe you can celebrate yourself. Well, she didn't care about any of that and didn't wait for any of that. One of my favorite memories with her was when I used to, she's 13 years younger than me. So I was like the after school babysitter and I had to like give her a bath and get her into her pajamas and all that stuff. And before I could, she like found, she was maybe 3 or 4. She was always a plus size kid. And she found the mirror and she just reveled at herself. And she was like, my belly is round as the Mother Earth. And to her, this was a miracle. This was miraculous. And I was like, can't we all learn from that? Can't we all just see the miracle of our like natural form, you know? And so I learned a lot from her, and I thought, well, maybe the world will have something to learn from a character like her.
Amazing. I love that. And just like how Andres told Vivo in the film that he's so full of life, it sounds like your sister's so full of life as well and really helped create such a marvelous character. So it's amazing. Now,
Yeah.
in the beginning of the film, Vivo asked himself, what difference can one song make? And as we see throughout the movie, one song can really make a big difference. So I want to ask you, especially with all of the moving songs heard throughout the film, how do you think one song can make a difference for you?
Well, in this case, I mean, it's like telling someone you love them, basically. So, you know, I think we can all understand the difference between loving someone and ever telling them or not telling them. And that's what the song does. It's a love song. It was never played for its intended. Um, you know, and to have that great romance unacknowledged and unvoiced in a life, it's a big regret to finish your life with, you know. So that's what we made the story about, well, what if there was a second chance to have this song heard by the person it was written for, even decades after the fact.
So amazing. And just talking with you about it again just brings tears to my eyes. I mean, I cried throughout the film because it is just so touching, so heartfelt. And I've never been touched by a movie as much as Vivo. So, again, congratulations on such a brilliant film. Now, you've worked with Lin-Manuel Miranda on a countless amount of remarkable projects and for so many years now. So, how do you feel Vivo is different from all of the other projects you guys have worked on together?
Well, Lynn and I first met to collaborate on In the Heights, which really was the story of a community. The lead character was the community, the plot was the community. And so I think of Vivo as pinned a little bit more on particular characters and the kind of the hero's journey. But we have a few different heroes, and they represent different models of what a hero can be. And of course, the hero's journey ends up being the journey of friendship, because they're not as heroic alone. They need each other. So that was really fun. It was really different to write songs that balance, an 11-person community ensemble versus write songs that really focus in on one character and their needs. And then what Lin does so beautifully, like for instance, in Vivo and Gabi's first duet, which is called Keep the Beat. Well, how can their different sounds start to influence each other, and play with that? So that was pretty different.
I love it. And everything that you guys work on is truly so awe-inspiring. So we love all that you guys do. Now, one thing that I love is that although Vivo and Andres may not speak the same language, they're always on the same rhythm. So if Vivo could say one more thing to Andres, what do you think it would be?
Oh, it makes me sad. I mean, I think if Vivo could say one more thing to Andres, he would say thank you. One of the, it's like, do we afford ourselves the honesty and opportunity to thank the people who are really there for us? And one of the engines of the drama and of the adventure is that Vivo ended things on a sour note with one of the most important people in his life. I mean, it's like heartbreaking for me to think of. So in some ways, how can he live with himself with that? He needs to resolve that for himself. And so I think that's one of the engines. And also just pure love. That is why he delivers Andres' love song. But that regret, like, boy, I yelled at him in kinkajou style and then took off, and that was it. That's our last memory together. That's hard.
Now, we're going to do a very quick Vivo inspired speed round. So, the first question is, as we learn in the movie, one song can truly change everything. And as we discussed earlier, so what is one song from Vivo that changes everything for you?
Um, my own drum, because I think it's aspirational and really different for girls to look up to.
Amazing. And I have all of the songs, especially my own drum, stuck in my head all the time. I find myself singing in the shower, everywhere. It's just such a great song. Now, also in the movie, we are introduced to the ladies from the Sand Dollars. So,
Yeah.
what is your favorite Sand Dollars cookie?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm like the crazy one that would probably eat the song, like the paper on the song, like she does in the movie. I'd be like, all right, here we go. Like, I'm the fear factor one. So that would be me.
Amazing. And lastly, for the speed round, so Gabi and Vivo adventure from Havana to also going to the Key West, Everglades, and ultimately in Miami. So, if you could see them adventure to any other place, where would you like them to go?
I would love to see their next adventure. I would love to write their next adventure. I would be curious, like, what would happen if they went back to Cuba? Like, Vivo is a different has a different heart and a different spirit now, a different life experiences, and Gabi really hasn't had that, you know, that cultural touchdown and those cultural connections in the same way. So maybe.
That would be so exciting. And we're all just crossing our fingers for a sequel to Vivo and many more, bringing this story even more, expanding its universe because it's just so wonderful. And lastly, as I mentioned when I was watching this movie, I mean, it really brought tears to my eyes. It's just such a touching story. And I want to ask you if you could create a song title based off of how you felt watching the finished product, what do you think the song title would be?
I think it would be something like that felt good.
Oh, I love it. Amazing. Well, thank you so very much, Quiara, for speaking with me today again. It is such an honor speaking to such a creative genius like you are. And thank you for bringing such a brilliant story to our screens with Vivo premiering on August 6th on Netflix.
Thanks. Take care.